demonstration and theory of his work on Gestalt theory.
Good morning. I need my plan is to have a fish bowl for about 30 minutes. Talk about and I need a representative or a member of the process group plus about 5 others. Can I get someone from the process group and the 5 other people who join us? Okay, and we have to get started.
Peter.
Sharon.
Norman.
Anna.
Bert, Gail, Cheryl.
What I'm going to ask you to do what I'm going to ask you to do in the 20 minutes that we'll have for this, and leave them with a few minutes of warning. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Breathe. And think of your experience in this conference so far. And see if you can find a metaphor, a symbol that represents your experience of this conference so far. It can be an image, or a sound, or a sensation. But something that represents your experience of the conference so far.
How much time is it?
Well, as soon as you have your image or metaphor, open your eyes and I'll know when you're ready. And the people around us, if you'd like to do that also, if you can think of your own metaphor for your experience of the conference. briefly say what your image or sound or whatever was, and what you're experiencing in your body right now.
My metaphor is a kaleidoscope, lots of different colours changing, and feeling heavy.
My image is being inside, and there are all these kids playing outside, and I can't be with them. I wasn't here yesterday. I was ill, so as I was telling my cousins for just a few minutes ago, I feel this real missing and disappointment. So I feel sincere.
My metaphor is living half the skyline outside the hotel, feeling somewhat lightheaded out of not having my full night's sleep, and a tightness around my shoulders.
I'm driving down the road and I'm in a car, and the car is too small, top is down, so I'm kind of big for the car. And the car kind of goes by itself and kind of bumps up against the edge of the road, and there's a new road, it might take that, but I'm not in control of the car, but it seems like it's safe, but until it's all over.
The word thistle came to mind. I'm not exactly sure what a thistle is, but I got a picture, and it was sort of like a flower bud, but with very rough edges instead of soft in the middle. With rough parts sticking out, and underneath softer parts. Really growing stem.
Hopefully we can understand what we're talking about. I feel some excitement and fear.
I feel rested, which is unusual, and some warmth right here in my midsection. And some excitement.
My image is a department store, like Macy's. I've only been in for the first time today. And there's so much on display and around, and so much that I want to choose, and I want to go away with the right things and make the right choice. I'm not sure that I can. The feeling in my body is like that, one of a bit of anxiety and a lot of excitement.
I immediately saw a series of small and large islands in both very serene and very choppy waters. I'm feeling wide at the hips this morning. It's actually a good
My image was of jumping off a high diving board into the pool and realizing I can swim. And I have an openness when I
lot of movement, excitement. My image is soft, gentle, rolling hills, and the hills are these passageways, these roads that converge and create this interweaving that continues to expand and grow.
Ungentle problem. My image is growing. I was a little negative neighbor. Looking on the sea. Remember Odysseus and somebody behind me yells, "What?"
It's a whole movie there.
I watched chapter 2.
Eric is the screenwriter. I'm feeling some tension in my legs. I don't think it's from the dance, but I don't know what it's a little bit of soreness when I take a deep breath. A lot of excitement. And my image was of a mince pie, Thanksgiving mince pie, with all kinds of fruits.
No nuts?
No nuts. All right. Is anyone else feeling anything physical, like excitement or anxiety? A number of people say that they were feeling some anxiety. Did you raise anything? So Bert and Anna. Can you describe the anxiety that you feel from each other?
I don't feel it so much now.
No, I don't either, but anxiety was sort of here, but coming out is excitement.
Is anyone else feeling excited? Can you talk to each other about that? Where do you feel it? What's your experience of it?
I have pain right in my chest.
In my center here, it's like a circle of sputtering, spinning around, and moving out.
Mine is shifting. I was feeling excitement in the go around, and then when you asked if anyone feeling anxiety, and I realized we were going to have to talk about the anxiety in the fashion I was anxious. And for me, it was up here. And then as it proceeded, I relaxed it and felt less anxious. So I don't know what I did with it. Now that I've thought of it.
My pressure, that I was experiencing this pressure initially, when you said, oh, anxiety, then I became anxious, I guess excited, and then also believing to you over there, and I was up here, trying to
Or to change? Who else is feeling excited? Are there other people that people have in your body?
I'm feeling level, centered.
What would you like to do?
We want to do it. Now, lack of food. I'm also
Can't hear you.
Could you use
it's kind of like a date after last night, but just feeling my fingers like
the feelings that you're having? Are they connected to the metaphors that you brought?
I'm feeling expectant.
Can you talk to Norm?
Sure, I had some trouble identifying that feeling because I think I always almost
And are you feeling expectant also?
I haven't actually contacted you until this moment. This is so complex, and I'm very, not very, feeling some excitement in my chest. And I like the bond that you established by talking about expecting.
And how do you feel as you're talking to Natalie now? In your body?
Excited, energized.
my rib just went pop.
But I think I always, I'm almost sure I always have like a baseline fear, anxiousness. When you talk about that, oh man, right? It's always there. It's hard to see. It's intimidating.
Do you have it right now?
Yeah, exactly. So
Can you tell Natalie how you're experiencing it right now in your body?
I just kind of feel like I have this energy that wants to push up. From here, I think I feel more of a core, with a charge. And it's hard for me to like relax also. I'm in this state.
Wouldn't call this anxiety. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I know it's
So I didn't hear it as anxious. I heard it as
Expectation.
expected, yeah. I felt it.
I feel an expectation too, like, there's something about to happen or, I have to move on or something.
What is there something that you want to happen?
well, I know that if I stay in a state of expectancy too long, then I'm watching.
Yeah.
I think I'm feeling that. I'm feeling concerned and very patient. Like I can feel myself like wanting to, okay, so let's.
Do you know what you want to do? Any of the expectations? Is it fantasy? Do you know what you want to do?
I've been extending my image because I've been feeling heavy and my image was a kaleidoscope. And there's something about my heaviness as having high gravity, pulling the experience. So it's as if I sit here and where I'm at the moment is sort of things come to me. And I just have to sit here and be down in my chair and things come to me. And so it's expecting, but nothing in particular, just whatever. Like the kaleidoscope whatever comes, whatever colour comes.
Okay, one more, and then we're going to have to stop. Because we're out of time.
I'm not sure I answered the question, but I'm feeling a lot of excitement at how you're running this group experiment of learning every minute and admiring your skill. I'm feeling good about it.
What is it that you're seeing that you're admiring?
Your way of picking up what's going on and trying to focus it and carry it on. I'm not sure I can define it, but it feels so right.
All right. We're going to have to stop. But the images that you had and the feelings, the images that you had and the feelings, if you can stay in touch with those and go back to your groups, if it's in you, it's in the field also. The things that you said, other people might be experiencing also. I'm not going to talk about that a little bit, but if you would go back to your books, process books. Some remarks. We believe in the unity of theory practice. So our theory emerges from our experience. I want to say a few things about a number of things, but the theory that I'm going to present to you now has emerged out of my experience and my practice. Part of that experience has been my reading of Gestalt psychology. The key concept in Gestalt psychology was not psychophysical parallelism or perception, but organization. Not organization by additive elements, arbitrarily associating things together. Not organization by machine theory based on prescribed conditions, but organization by dynamic self-distribution. Forces in interaction that form their own equilibrium, their own polar parts, their own emergent structure, their own figure against the ground. What's more? I think that was what was beginning to happen. In the Gestalt community, we've been examining our roots lately. Need and insights into the social matrix, the interpersonal, multiplicity of perspectives, process, the act, I and the me. I owe a debt to the Gestalt psychologist who left a treasure trove of concepts, theory, and experiments that often border or surpass brilliance. They have inspired me and provoked me with their theories about the dynamics of wholes. It is these dynamics that I've sought to apply to my review at Field and Bruce, as well as the work of Vietnam, Tamara, Whitaker, Needleman, Darwin Jones, Richard Kistler, and of course, Paul Whitaker. You'll recall that 2 short days ago, but just 2 short days ago, I defined field theory. I'd like to go over those definitions with you again, applying them more closely to a way of looking at groups. I said 2 days ago that a field is dynamic and consists of interacting, even conflicting forces. And we began to see that as people expressed what they were feeling, we would see it even more This dynamic equilibrium will have emergent structure and organized whole with parts figuring down the Gestalt. Part of the organization in this little group that began to take place was a bit of connection, perhaps even intimacy between norm and matter. And perhaps there was potential for that with other people. Maybe that's part of what's going on. It was also, what was really for me certainly was the expectancy. That people were expecting something. And Peter, after the voice for others, was waiting for people to come to him. And so another alternative is deciding what you want to happen and taking the steps, doing the addressing to get what you need or want. The thought processes are themselves informed, determined by the intrinsic nature of the whole. Things that were said in a small group reflect things that are going on in the large group. There may be constraints in the field which affect the movement and interaction of these forces. These constraints may result in isolations in the field. Now the constraints, of course, is how we constrict ourselves, how we interrupt our contact. These constraints may result in isolations in the field, which in turn affect the possibility for dynamic distribution and Gestalt formation in the field. Isolations include such things as scapegoating, the identified patient, the helper-help-me relationship. All of these are ways of not being vulnerable, of not bringing into the open what one's needs are. I also said in terms of field as observer as part of this. You are the instrument. You are in the field and part of it. So what I'm doing in terms of my attention, my energy going up or down has to do with the field. If I start listening to a certain song, it's not very different. It's nothing to do with how I'm related to the field at that moment. Just as the metaphors, the images did. I also said that the field exists here and now, though from here and now it may extend in time and space. Group is radically here and now. Anything that is said has to do with the here and now. Anything that is said in group has to do with the here and now. Right, Randall?
Yes, thank you.
There are no things or objects, but only processes and events. Yes.
Would you mind saying another word about the metaphors and the function and
the metaphors, what was your metaphor?
the skyline in Manhattan?
What did it mean to you? What did you feel about the skyline in Manhattan?
And it was very up and down, uneven, spectacular, exciting, scary, that's my.
Each metaphor explores chronologically, brings together cognitive, emotional, body, memory, and it's about the field now and how it is. I want to talk a little bit about what's different about a field model of groups. In the field model, my client is the group, conference, community as a whole, here and now, in contact. My frame is the group as field, with figuring ground, process and event, Gestalt formation and destruction. I am part of the group. I am part of the group is part of me. Whereas the group is out there and it's like a clock. So when you move this and certain things happen, and you feel you are in it, you feel this in you. My sensations, my body, my feelings, my thoughts all have to do with the field. And I'm an instrument responsible sensations, attractions, distractions, memories, and reasons in group as being functions of the group as a whole, as events in the processes of this field here and now. In other words, I'm looking for what is figured and the ground which produced it, norms, metaphor, and the ground which produced that metaphor, or speed, or error. Are they? I'm also looking for group configurations of Gestalt. Where are the arrows of Moreno's social parent pointing? Are they dynamically distributed? Are they all pointing towards the leader, as in an authority dependent group, or towards the group scapegoat, or identified patient, as in Dion's fight-flight group? If so, there is not dynamic distribution, but isolation of the field in one member or in one group of members. But leave right in note. These group configurations give evidence of the structure of the actual situation. These configurations with contacting change. And these changing configurations call out different leadership requirements. The designated leader at first holds and is grounded the group and begins to shed leadership from the first, thus not allowing the group to become authoritative change. In a model where things become processes and events, the leader becomes leadership, a process which is fluid and floating. Expertise is differentiated from authority, and authority is seen as the illusion it is, one that has to be restructured and the projection re-owned so that members can authorize themselves. Some of you may have noticed that in this group I actually move up each other and not me. To distribute it around the group so the arrows are not all going towards the leader. Authority is an illusion, one that has to be restructured and the projection re-owned so the members can authorize themselves. The designated prescribed leader participates in that restructuring and at various times, depending on what is required by the field's configuration, may provide a target, a steady course, or conduct, advise, teach, hold, suggest, or dissolve. In the field Gestalt model, one looks at the whole of what is figured and tries to find a voice for different parts, different processes within the whole. If it is in you, it is in the field, in each other. And if it is figured in you, it is coming apart from the ground of the group. Whether the field is figured from this ground, it has something to do with what is happening to you, with you, around you, in the field, here and now. You are finding a voice for your experience, brings it more into contact, makes your part of the field known, makes the background foreground, creates, differentiates, articulates the field, opening the way for others to join you and to find, discover, explore where they are, their part of the field as well, as Norm did for Natalie and their part of the field as well. This may be a different direction for our contact. Exploring is not done alone, but with. If leadership is voicing one's vulnerability here and now and making the structure of the action situation visible, then this is a journey jointly created and closely shared. This is not analysis and explanation, but exploration and apprehension. Synthesis, exploring, contacting, articulating, differentiating the different parts of the whole of oneself and of the whole in oneself, taking both novel and familiar perspectives that have stayed with us. Notice all the opportunities here for a range of behaviors in the organism environment field around configurations of authority, closeness, intimacy, change, differentiation, and body. Certainly there's opportunities to see where one's issues are, what gets in one's way, where and how contacting is, where and how withdrawal is, what the interruptions are over a range of changing environments. Does a different environment change the organism? How could it not? How could it not? This is a different kind of diagnosis
I think we've got more possibilities of doing play episodes, immersive,
I'm trying to make it easier. It's just easier. Now to change that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is your book for sale here?
We're going to do a series of small experiments that we did at the Institute and launch. So the facilitators are familiar with it.
Sit down. Join the group. Come in. Come in. All right. Try this. Come on in. Come on in. First person. 7 years old. Come on.
Have your
We got a group of youngers. Is that sick? Screw this.
most exciting thing about the conference so far is that we have small interactive process. We really all kind of present the interruption of our interactions. We got to support the thing. Hilarious reaction to that would be in the conference for our eye. Undoubtedly children. They are the children. They are the children. Up and there, the children. There's a motto to Don Quixote. Fantasy, journey, with poor, benevolent, great night and sunshine upon it. So I'm going to ask us to take a little voyage, fantasy perhaps, in a series of experiments. And we did them before in the Institute itself. From time to time, I sort of intrude and make instructions, so please don't take me too much for it. The first one
your tree at, A, B, C. No. Well, work it out. Make an extra observatory a little bit. Now, what I hope you do is have a series of interactions in dyad. So, for example, Norm and Eleanor first, and then Norm and Joel, and each person has had an opportunity to interact. The third member, who is not at that point doing it, is observing the interaction. Keep your observations until we experience it over and then share observations. Now, the task is to see. The task is to tell the other, I see you seeing me this way. Fundamental point is to put yourself in the other's shoes and to look at you. You might even get fancy to do I see you seeing me seeing you, you know. But don't venture into that yet. Okay, so we have 2 minutes for interaction. So you'll have 6 minutes, and then probably a minute or two for the observers. And we begin now. Please. Work it out, my dear. Wind down this phase and regroup as a process group. You want to.
Attentiveness that you had, an awareness that you have with Susan, that was included in an attentiveness that you also had.
I'm trying to do an inventory.
gently rub. Feel the other's hand, feeling you, feeling the other's hand. So you're doing with your fingers what you had just done with your eyes. You'll be seeing with your eyes. Seeing with your hands, I beg your pardon. Get overcomplicated, just go into the breathing. Deep breath. And your fingers start to feel like the other person's hand, you just start moving them again to get that contact. Do try to feel that the other's hand is yours. Move it. Keep around. Keep and breathe. Compare and present state of the previous experiment. Very good. My instructions have written that I'm asking you to do abstraction, not merely abstract. Obviously, because now you're comparing two sets of experiences. Reflect on this experience now and see what words you would use to say or say from this experience. Mind, when you do that, when you say it from perspective, which is yours, and perhaps also shared. Perspective is the way of saying. That means that you'll be sharing significant symbols and communication through language. And then note that I say, reflect on the experience, not when you're ready, very gently come back now, very experience qualities about you, qualities that you light, sound, peace, equanimity. What we're asking you here in this context is to include your whole self, body, mind, through as process. As process, not habitat. Let your transitions come to you, not you to them. And to discover how in your process and where you now find yourself, perhaps as a result of your experimenting, how do you act? How do you act and want to act? What is your theory of value? And to appreciate aesthetically the good, the true, and the beautiful you have created together. And of course, that is beyond experiment. Please return when you're very subtle shift in terms of our translation. For example, I spoke to Marguerite and Giovanni about that yesterday. The translator translated historia as history. And actually the word is story. And it's a very central part of their developmental theory, the confluence and the story that the child makes up of himself. Now, that's to say what she is. I took that occasion to talk about here, now, and next. And with that, the narrative. Connecting, I thought, obviously, narrative and story, which was directly relating then to our own experience of our story of who we are. And also to point out that now, here, now, and yesterday, you are making your narrative, although you did not know how the novel would turn out. But that is the point. Theory and the practice being the same. If you will, from an aesthetic point of view, but I think from a far more central point of view, from a philosophical point of view. Now, what's the next one? From a philosophical point of view. There's a further, perhaps, experience we have here that is sometimes called mirroring. I see, you see, and so forth and so on, and the child's experience in mirroring. This is a central issue in the development of self, especially with the existentialists, Merleau-Ponty talked about it a lot, couldn't get much through it, and of course so did Lacan. But we have a very interesting experience here when we talk about mirroring. There's the mirroring of twins, for example, we do it constantly with each other. But there's the mirroring of the experience of the mirror. Now, the issue is that you have our philosophical base for this, that you're making the self. This is one of the ways one does this, by looking in the mirror. Yes, it was méconnaissance, the misrecognition. So the ego is wrenched from its seat, and you have to see yourself in a different way, and this creates the self. That's not quite accurate, but it's accurate enough. The problem with it, and this now approaches from George Herbert Mead's point of view, is that the self is made in action, genetically, of course, from one hand on the other, which is what you were experiencing, the resistance from the inside. You have a praying hand, which is the way on. And remind me of this, but yesterday, Giovanni, when he took his glass of water, he said, I tasted it. Tasted it. And Mead points out the unit of the act. Unit is the act. Impulse, perception, manipulation, finally consummation. And it's always fun for me to watch people do manipulation by way of knowing the object. Of course, it happens before they came in contact with an establishment space because of values and needed experience. Needed experience. Both. No, just before that. The point is that the self is made in activity with the other, through playing and then finding the rules of the game and so forth, slightly technical. But it has then to be made in reality. And I don't think you make a self with a mirror. You cannot make a self with illusions. Fundamentally, illusory. The self, in the sense that when we talk about the self, we always say self in here, is achieved. The self is worked at. We worked at that here now. in the same sense as David would tell us about Hillel, and the length of time a man can stand on one leg, what is the law of the prophet? Apparently, I didn't know this until David told me. He had asked the previous rabbi who threw him out because he thought he was getting a hand job. And so he went to Hillel. So he went to Hillel and asked the same question. And Hillel responded, if I'm not for myself, who am I for?
Who will be for me?
Who will be for me? What's the next one?
If I'm only for
If I'm for myself alone,
what am I?
what am I?
And if not now,
And if
when?
not now, when? In the Hebrew, it's much more beautiful. David? And this commandment hangs all along the prophets themselves. We're out of time. No.
L.
L.
L-O-G.
10 minutes.
Yeah, that's the question. Well, we did this.
Then the problem interrupted your experience. It all seems very intense. Can you tell us your experiences?
One thing that came out was almost expecting this to be a part of the exercise. I think this illustrates perhaps your point about the mirror is, in doing it, I became aware of what I imagined the other person couldn't see about me. Doing the exercise of what I imagined I should. But that was important to go with experience, as well as putting together with theory and reflecting out.
Of course, it's the same activity. That's good, Ken. I never thought of that. Somebody else? Mary Little.
Behind you, Ken.
With all that, I've forgotten what I was going to say, but it was, I don't have memory.
You'll get it.
I did one. I was with the intensity of the experience, and so whatever you were saying in the middle, I missed it. We were still mirroring each other. And I was impressed by this, both how surprised I was and how excited I was to get mirrored, but to be seen by another, and how correct they were, even if I didn't know it ahead of time. So that was exciting to me. It was a focus and discovery.
What do you attribute that?
Was it the style of the experiment?
Say again?
Was it the style of the experiment, the triadic nature that did it?
Well, it was the experiment, but it was us in the experiment. It wasn't just the experiment.
Well, I had an incredible experience. I played with my projections and expectations to the others, and I expressed that, and I became aware of that they feeding me back and they experiencing, that's another projection. It's the same. And the whole conference, I'm feeling everyone is in me and I am in everyone, and it's overwhelming.
I wanted to add that when people, what was helpful to me was people were naming my experience, or they were naming things about me that was not yet in my experience, but as soon as they named them, it was in my experience, and so my experience took myself through in that way.
That's a wonderful thing that Ken pointed out from me. The eye can't turn around fast enough to catch the me, but the other people could. There's a fundamental power of words.
Yeah, on that point. There was, I was struck by the contrast of the experience between the person who I was looking into the eyes of and the observer's observation. In contrast. And like you said, there was something in my field that was not my field of vision, but the field of vision from observing.
Struck and trust. Struck and trust. Struck and trust. Struck and trust. He said I was struck by their observations, which were not in my field of vision. Mary Lou said, yeah. If you trust their observation, that's struck.
I was struck and trusting
And now we can move it.
I agree with you.
Any more startle reaction?
I didn't have a startle reaction, but I was very aware of the difference between looking with my eyes and feeling with my hands. And I had a lot of difficulty with my eyes initially, and the experiencing with my hands felt much more outside of my thoughts. I felt extremely vulnerable. Whereas even though I got caught in the circle of being the other when I was seeing myself, I was like seeing myself being seen, but whatever I was doing, I was began to get in that spin, caught in that circle, but it still felt as though I was directed to something, and this whole thing was not right. At the mercy of the current of the seas.
I was struck by catching that at the moment that I really felt that like I was really seeing me, that I was doing something that comfort, but that was exactly what the interruption of contact. That was the moment where I stopped making contact. That was interesting. That was the moment when I heard something that sounded very real, authentic. I immediately went, what is expected of me? I was really fascinated by the moment that I could actually, what was positive, what was powerful about that moment of the experiment was to recognize my interruption, the interruption of contact.
You know, the process of contacting is not a uniform one. Contacting is draw the contact back to a different place of support and security. There's also the normal interruption, the reach
whatever your expectation is at this point. One might possibly be to articulate your own, from your own experiences, to articulate your own theory of Gestalt.
Can you put that one down? It's 2 minutes, Charles.
Now, the process groups will have like I think it's an hour
and a half.
1
hour
hour
and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's one period of diagnosis and value also that we can bring back to the larger group.
We will go with the process group until approximately 1:15. Make it 1:10 so that we have a 5-minute break. And then we're reforming with a final plenary in a larger group.
Of going to groups, I forgot to bring books that Rafida and I published we want to go. And we would like to sell them, and I can take orders. And Ruth Ronald, a secret player, you can come and give you orders for the book. The book is $25.
Give the title. Say the title. Title. The title.
Title.
Title. That's a very long time. Here's history.
The legacy,
Long tragedy.
living
The
legacy.
legacy.
Fritz and
The
Laura.
legacy.
A living legacy of Fritz and Laura Pearl.
Thank you. The living legacy of Fritz and Laura Pearl.
Contemporary case study.
Contemporary case studies.
Ruth has a chapter